Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney. Can't really see her, but this is Nidra down here. She's hanging out with me today. And it is time for another Monday Musings. I am very tired. It's just been a very busy couple of weeks. I did start my eBay store and I made a few sales, and so I'm getting used to that change. Being autistic is hard, even something as simple as that, and just having to go ship out the books and leaving the house on those days and such. So I'm adjusting to that. We had a busy weekend, not this past weekend, but the weekend before with my husband's birthday. And then this weekend, my mom came down with my Aunt Laura. And so yesterday we went to see my grandparents because they were going to be there. So I could see my grandparents and see them all at the same time. So that was exhausting. We've been trying to figure out a time to go hit the little free libraries down in the bigger city as well. So we were able to do that. And I actually found quite a few books that I'm very excited about that have been on my list. I found A Killing Cold by Kate Alice Marshall. I found Hungerstone by Kat Dunn, which is based on Carmilla. So I want to do a reread of Carmilla and then read that one. I think that'll be very fun. And then I found Northwoods, and I can't remember the author of that one, but that one's been on my list. And so, yeah, just books I'm very excited about, and hopefully I can get to sooner rather than later. But of course, my reading has not been going very well. I am at this point getting a little bit worried about completing my Aurelium TBR because I did not get all that much read this past week. So I had already read just two books for the first week of the month. And then I ended up reading this one, The Healing Power of Garlic, Vinegar, and Olive Oil, which is not even on my TBR. I picked it up in a little free library when we went to the other city for my husband's birthday. And so, yeah, this wasn't even on my TBR, but I did finish it. I enjoyed it. It was written, I think, 2006, I want to say. Yeah. And so, obviously, it's a bit dated, which is, fine. I think it's a good starting point. What I really enjoyed about this one is she gives you the history of the ingredients and the medicinal folklore around those and the history of that. Then she gets very sciencey, sciencey about, the different benefits and the different studies and all that. Then she goes into practical, so buying the ingredients, storing them, things like cooking with them, things like that. There are recipes at the back, which I do want to, like these roasted pork chops with apple and cabbage. That sounds really good. So there are recipes I do want to try. And so I think I ended up giving it a 3-star. It was a good base book. If you're interested in these ingredients, I really like getting the history. Obviously, it's a bit outdated, but it's a good base to start off learning about the ingredients, and then you can do your own further research and see what research has emerged in the last 20 years since this book was written. So there's that one. This book is what really took me forever to get through. This is definitely the densest book on my TBR because it is a mass market paperback. So I'm glad that I have it finished, and that was Mandarin Orange Sunday by Angelique Durand. This one is, let's see here, it was for my Necromancer Calling Inscription, Dating Intricacies, so day of the week in the title, and obviously it has Sunday in the title. And this was a reread for me. And growing up, my mom had this book, and she's like, you can read any of my books, but not this one. When I was a teenager, she had told me that. And so I was like, obviously that's stuck in my mind. And so as an adult, I got a hold of a copy and read it. And I actually ended up giving it 4 stars the first time I read it. This time I dropped it down to a 3-star, and it's probably a little less than that, but there's just something intriguing about it. On the surface, this book is trash. It has a lot of things I hate. It's very crude. It's kind of immature. The emotions of the characters just flip-flop back and forth and are dramatic as possible, which I don't like when authors do that. But it has adultery in it. It has a very extremely toxic relationship. There's DV and R in here. Adultery, obviously, I already mentioned. And then also there's situations with her ex-husband, with her mother, and her with her stepfather. Like, it has, like, just as much effed up stuff in there as it can possibly fit. So it's about this woman, and it's basically about her sexuality, like just being very free with her sexuality is kind of the overall theme of the book. And then she meets this rock star, and she's always been drawn to his words and such. So she's always kind of like had this fantasy about him. Meets him at a party because she's a famous author, and so they have some people in common. Meets him at this party, ends up going. He comes to her house, and they sleep together. He's married. And then it's just their relationship throughout the whole book, back and forth, because she's the mistress. And I do like the psychology of it because you're really in her head. Like, you're following her, it's first person. And I like the psychology of it, of like, she knows this isn't okay. Like, she even tells him, no, you're a married man. Like, no. So even though she's very free, like, I mean, she slept with her stepfather. So it's like, you're gonna, anyway. So she's very free about that. And but she's like, no, this isn't okay, and she's very unhappy as a mistress, and so they go back and forth, back and forth. And so there's a lot, like, on the surface, the crudeness, like the nickname she calls for when she gets turned on, and you know other things involving that. The nickname she has comes across very childish and insecure. She comes across very childish and insecure. This relationship she has with this rock star is extremely toxic. And yeah, on the surface, like, I shouldn't like this. It has a lot of things I don't like. I hate the way she flip flops between emotions. But for her character, like for some of the other characters, it's like, come on. For her character, it kind of makes sense because she is upset. She knows this is wrong. She's upset about being the other woman, and being the mistress, and she wants to marry him. And he's kind of stringing her along. Well, I just want to get through my tour, and then I'll divorce her. Yada yada yada. So he's stringing her along. And so some of her like flip flopping emotions kind of make sense. And I do like the psychology being in her head, and why does she keep going back to him when she knows this isn't okay and such. And you do get like her um relationships and sexual encounters with other people as well. But it's very crude. It's very focused on that. And yeah, I shouldn't like it, but there's just something that pulls me. And even though these two are so toxic, they should not be together, should not be in any relationship, let alone with each other. Extremely toxic. At the same time, you're kind of rooting for them. It's very mind trippy. And so yeah, I dropped it down to a 3 stars. It's probably more like a 2 star, but there's just something about it that I find compelling. Um, so yeah, that was a reread, and it took me all week. Then I did start the House Saphir by Marissa Meyer. This is based on a French fairy tale of Bluebeard, which I had never heard of. And it has like French folklore monsters in here, which I love. Like at the beginning, she gives you a list of a glossary of the monsters. There you go, which is really cool. This is for my Godseer calling. It's for my class Demonology, which is common demonic dwellings. So house on the cover, it obviously has the word house, and then the steps leading up to the door of a house. So counting it. And this works for Kim's game from Expedition Through Pages, which I'm on Team Dryad, and one of our prompts is a weapon on the cover that has daggers and arrows and such. So, loving this so far. Honestly, if we hadn't gone down to the bigger city to visit my mom and grandparents and do little free libraries, if we hadn't been gone all day, this would have been done. I am absolutely flying through it. I finished Mandarin Orange Sunday on Saturday, and then I started this in that evening, and I got 144 pages in. I read 80 pages last night. I was just so tired. I normally try to stop on chapter breaks, and I literally couldn't keep my eyes open, so I didn't even stop on a chapter break. So yeah, this will for sure 100% be getting finished. I'm between a 4 and 5 star. I'm absolutely loving it. but I just don't know how it's going to play out, and I think that will affect the rating. I'm a little bit confused about a couple things, but I'm really enjoying it. So it's based on this legend of, or this fairy tale of Bluebeard who killed his wives. And so that's what it's based on. And we are following our main character, Mallory, and she runs these occult tours of the manor in the city. And then she gets approached by the descendant of Bluebeard, and he's like, you know, my great great whatever grandfather is back. Like, I need your help. Not realizing like she's kind of a fraud. She can see ghosts and she can talk to ghosts, but she doesn't really have any magical powers. But he thinks because her mom was a witch that she and her sister are witches and they can help him. And so they go back and they're basically trying to con him. And so they're pretending they kind of know what they're doing, but they don't. And yeah, really loving it. There's the three wives that Monsieur Blue murdered their ghost, and I really like those characters. I like the characters of the ghost. I like all the characters. There's this maid that there's something funky going on there, and I can't wait to finish this. So I will for sure be finishing this tonight. I'll be able to start it fairly early, and it shouldn't be a problem. Excuse me, to finish it before bed, before I get super tired. So the other two books I had been hoping to start this week were, of course, The Paris Library by Janet Skeslien Charles. This one also works for Kim's Game because we needed books on the cover. And so that works for that. And this was for, let's see, Restoration, Restorative Adoration. Ask a friend for 5 stars and pick one. And because I didn't want to interact with anybody, I just went to Allison on a book break Storygraph and picked the first 5 stars that I own. And I'm doing restoration for all 3 callings. So this is one of 3. And so I'm hoping, I probably won't start this today, but I'm hoping I can start this tomorrow. And hopefully it won't take me too terribly long. So that one's on the docket. And then I had wanted to also read Hunted. This is my family book club pick. And this is for my Necromancer Calling Shapeshifting Volume Modification. Flip a coin, heads, less than 400, tails, over 400. I got tails. This is 450 pages, but it's my family book club, so this is another priority read. And I already, excuse me, there's 3 prompts for Kim's Game. I already read the first book for the first prompt last week, and then it's just these other 2, the House Saphir and the Paris Library. And we had our mid-month challenge, and I was able to use this one for beat up cover. It's not, I don't know if you can see that, it's not in the best shape, and so I was able to use that for beat up cover. So that's nice. So like I said, I'll finish the House Saphir. The Paris Library is next up because that's the other one for Kim's Game, and then this is my family book club. And then I think my strategy, I want to get the denser books out of the way first. So I am also hoping to read Phantasma by Kaylie Smith this week. This is also for Necromancer. And this is Inspiration Boost. It's the class Conjuration. First enticing book on social media. And so this is one, I was scrolling Instagram and this one popped up. So this is on the docket for this week. And then I think I also want to read Water Moon this week by Samantha Sotto Yambao. This is for Godseer. It's also for Conjuration, if I'm remembering. Yeah. So again, I came across this on Instagram as I was scrolling a different account. So that's what I'm hoping for. Again, 5 books. I've been averaging 2 each week, but hopefully things will calm down. I'll kind of get into a rhythm with selling these books. Right now, Mondays, I'm doing these videos, and then I list books to get sold. And so that's Mondays. And then obviously, I like to try to do chores on Tuesdays. and then just kind of go from there. So hopefully I can get all these 5 books read. Hopefully it'll be a quieter week and I can kind of get into more of a routine. Like I said, it's more 4 books because I will finish the House of Fur tonight for sure. And so it's just the other 4, but they're all thick and chunky. The Hunted, it's thick, but it's a thriller horror, so it should read quickly. And we'll just have to see about Phantasma and Water Moon. Because they're more like fantasy-esque, I think I should be able to fly through them. And then after that, like, I have a lot of quick reads, some YA, some children's, and a couple of romances. So I'm hoping, like, we still have 2 weeks and some change. So I really am hoping that I can pull it through. And now that I've gotten through Mandarin Orange Sunday, which it was the most dense and the hardest to get through, because it didn't even have like the chapter breaks. It's very old school, so it was like the chapter would end and you would have a few lines, and then the next chapter would begin. So all the pages I read were all writing. So yeah, it just took me forever. But like I said, I don't have anything else coming up for the rest of the month, and and hopefully, like I said, I'll get into a rhythm with selling the books, and we'll see what happens. Fingers crossed. Wish me luck that I can get these read. That I'll have a good week. I'm hoping I can like knock all these out and then maybe add in like one of the children's books this week as well. But I just don't know. Like, I keep being so hopeful. This whole year I've been like, oh, I'm so hopeful. Like, I hope I can get these read, and then I don't. So it's been like this whole year. But I am still very motivated for Aurelium. So hopefully I can do it this year, because this year is just, I'm so stressed out. It's just, this year is a lot. So we'll just have to see how it goes. I would love to know if you've read any of these, or if any of these are on your radar, or what you're currently reading. You can let me know that down in the comments below. If you just want to let me know you're here and you're helping to support the channel by commenting, you can always leave a rabbit or any type of animal emoji in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.